You know that feeling when you're lying next to someone and you still feel completely alone? That silence between two people who used to laugh about everything. That moment when you reach out and somehow, even when they're right there, they feel miles away. If you know exactly what I'm describing, I need you to stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you today could genuinely change the trajectory of your most important relationship. Let's be honest about something most people won't say out loud. Emotional disconnection doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive with a dramatic argument or a single devastating moment. It sneaks in slowly, quietly, like a fog that rolls in while you're sleeping. One day you wake up and you realize that the conversations you're having are about schedules and groceries and logistics. You realize that the last time you truly felt seen by this person, truly understood at a soul level, was so long ago you can't even pinpoint it. And that realization, that quiet, devastating realization, is one of the loneliest feelings a human being can experience. Research consistently shows that emotional disconnection is the #1 silent killer of long-term relationships. Not arguments. Not incompatibility. Disconnection. And the cruel irony is that most people who are living inside that disconnection are working incredibly hard. They're showing up. They're trying. They just don't know what actually builds emotional intimacy, because nobody ever taught them. But here's what I also know. Connection isn't something that disappears forever. It's something that gets buried. And the right daily practices, done consistently, can unbury it in ways that will genuinely surprise you. Before I go deeper into those practices, I want to mention something important. We have related programs linked down below in this video description that go so much further than what I can cover here. If you're watching this and part of you knows that you need more than just information, that you need a real structured path forward, I want you to pay attention to that feeling. Most people will scroll past it. They'll tell themselves they'll come back to it later, and later never comes. The people who take action on that instinct are the ones whose stories change. The link is there. What you do with it is up to you. Now let me tell you something that happened to someone I know. Two people, deeply in love at the beginning, finishing each other's sentences, staying up until 3 in the morning just talking about everything and nothing. 5 years later they were sitting at a dinner table in complete silence, both scrolling their phones, both pretending not to notice that something enormous had gone missing. They weren't angry at each other. That's the part that's so heartbreaking. They weren't enemies. They were strangers sharing a home, sharing a bed, sharing a life, but not really sharing anything at all. And the worst part? Neither of them knew how to start. Because when disconnection runs deep, even knowing where to reach feels impossible. Every attempt feels risky. What if I open up and they don't respond the way I need? What if trying makes me look desperate? What if it's too late? Those fears are normal. They're human. But they are also the exact fears that keep people stuck for years longer than they need to be. So let's talk about what actually works. And I want to be incredibly specific here, because vague advice helps nobody. The first practice is something I call the 2-minute daily check-in, and I want you to understand why this is so much more powerful than it sounds. Every single day, without exception, you stop whatever is happening, you sit facing each other, phones down, distractions gone, and you ask one real question. Not how was your day? That question is a wall disguised as a door. You ask something that requires vulnerability to answer. Something like, what's something that's been quietly weighing on you? Or, what's one moment from today that made you feel something? Studies in relationship psychology show that consistent small moments of genuine curiosity compound over time into profound emotional safety. It's not about having one big conversation. It's about having thousands of tiny real ones. The second practice is what relationship scientists call bids for connection. And this is where the dramatic difference between thriving couples and struggling couples lives. Throughout any given day, your partner is constantly sending out small bids. A funny observation, a sigh, showing you something on their phone, mentioning something that happened. These are invitations. They are tiny outstretched hands. And what you do in those micro moments, whether you turn toward them or away from them, whether you engage or you dismiss, that determines the entire emotional temperature of your relationship. Start paying attention to the bids. Start turning toward them, even when you're tired, even when you're distracted. The research on this is so clear and so dramatic that it essentially predicts relationship outcomes with startling accuracy. The third practice is gratitude specificity, and I promise this is nothing like what you've heard before. Generic gratitude does almost nothing for emotional connection. Telling someone you appreciate them lands differently than telling them, I noticed the way you handled that hard moment today, and it made me feel so grateful to be with someone who responds to difficulty with that kind of grace. Specificity communicates something that generic appreciation cannot. It communicates that you actually see them, not the surface version of them, the real them. and being truly seen is one of the most emotionally bonding experiences two human beings can share. Here's something that shocks most people when they first hear it. Emotional intimacy is built more in repair than in perfection. Couples who never fight aren't necessarily closer than couples who do. What actually predicts deep emotional connection is the speed and quality of the repair after conflict. When something goes wrong between you, how quickly can you both soften? How willing are you to be the first one to reach? Because the person who reaches first, who lowers their armor first, who says, "I don't want to be at war with you," that person is doing one of the most emotionally brave things a human can do. And over time, that bravery builds something unshakable. The fourth practice is something almost nobody talks about, and it might be the most powerful of everything I've shared. It's called intentional presence, and it goes way beyond just putting your phone down. It's about choosing, deliberately and consciously, to be fully in the room with the person you love, to look at them and actually see them, to listen not just for the words but for what's underneath the words, for what they're really trying to tell you. This quality of presence is so rare in the world we live in that when someone experiences it, when someone feels truly present with another person, it creates an emotional impact that can shift a relationship almost immediately. Now I want to talk about time because this matters enormously. The couples who practice these things consistently don't wait for the perfect moment. They don't wait until things get bad enough to force action. They understand that connection is not a destination you arrive at. It's something you choose every single day. And the people who start today, not someday, not when things calm down, but today, those are the people whose relationships look completely different 12 months from now. Dramatically different. The kind of different that makes other people ask what changed. Disqualification moment. If you're reading this and thinking this is too simple, my situation is different, my relationship is too far gone for daily practices to matter, I want you to genuinely consider that this thought, this exact thought, is the one that keeps people in disconnection the longest. The research doesn't support that belief. What it supports is that consistent small actions create massive change over time. What it supports is that people who felt exactly where you feel right now have completely transformed their emotional lives. I've seen it. Thousands of people have experienced it. Which brings me to what I said at the beginning. The programs we have linked below in the video description exist for the person who is ready to go beyond surface-level tips and into the real deep work of building emotional connection that lasts. Not everyone watching this will take that step, and that's okay. But if something in you has been lit up by this conversation, if something in you is saying, "I need more of this, I need a real path," trust that. Don't let the version of you that waits win again. The link is below. The time to use it is now.